Alrighty, so here we go. I'm here with Andy Moore and Ryan Henson Creighton, right?
That's right.
Alright, and this is Eureka's Castle, and let's start this interview. So you are with Radial Games.
Radial Games, yes.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about your site?
Alright, Radial Games is a fairly new company, but I've been making games for about 2 years now. Steambirds, I guess, is the most famous title that I've produced, but maybe around 10, 15 games or so. I was just speaking here at the conference on how developers make mistakes and fail to recognize that in themselves.
And you, sir. Tell us a little bit about Untold Entertainment.
Untold Entertainment is a game development company in Toronto. What are you doing to me? Let's get payback. It's a game development studio in Toronto, and we specialize in online games for kids, teens, tweens, and preschoolers. So we have that especially kids focus, but we're trying to expand our service offering so we hit more platforms, more mobile stuff, and more age groups.
And what age group would you say that you cater to?
17.
Yeah,
17
I'd say 16 to 40.
So you mentioned Steambirds. Why don't you tell me a little bit about the game that you're working on?
Well, we're working on a game called Spelerium, which is a post-apocalyptic graphic adventure game where all the puzzles are solved with a word puzzle interface, a little bit like Boggle or a word search, which sounds strange, but it's awesome. It's actually awesome. So if you think to yourself, gee, I probably wouldn't like to play that, you actually would.
I thought that, and then I did like playing it, so...
So you tested this game?
Yeah, I kind of saw some prototypes almost a year ago?
Yeah, it's been a while, yeah.
It's probably like 1,000,000 times better now.
Oh, at least we were targeting 2,000,000 times better, but it's hard to get up to that speed when you're only talking a year's difference. But I'd say 1.5 times better is about what we're doing.
And when can we expect to play this?
Yes.
Yeah, when?
That's correct. Andy, you're so right.
Yeah.
When really is the question?
Yeah, when is the good time?
It's interesting because at the risk of the project is government funded, so they're asking me the same question too. So we have to balance the needs of the funder to get it in on time, wrap up all the paperwork, and the needs of the game. Really, the game. For my sanity, needs to be of a certain quality level. It needs to have a certain number of features for me to really feel that I can put my company name on it. So there's a little bit of tension between, as there always is, between getting it done and hitting a milestone and getting it to be the right quality. So Shigeru Miyamoto, the guy who made Donkey Kong and Mario and I think Night Trap for the Dreamcast, Shigeru Miyamoto says
that's what he's famous for.
Yeah, that's really Night Trap is.
Yeah, Night Trap.
He hit it out of the park with that one. But Shigeru Miyamoto says that essentially a delayed game is just late, but a bad game is bad forever. So I don't want a bad forever game.
So today at the conference, the word I've been hearing a lot is evangelical.
Evangelical.
Yes. So whenever I think of that word, I think of God. But obviously in the gaming world, that is not it. So can you guys tell me how you play this role in the games that you do?
I think that term is really coming to vogue at this conference because Adobe names its product reps evangelists for those product verticals. So I don't think it really fits, but maybe it does in kind of a way. So those are kind of people that just go around and say, yes, what we do is great. And they just, flying the flag, as it were, right? I don't think everyone does that. I don't do that. I guess I'm evangelical for... I don't know. It's just the wrong word, I think. I think it's the wrong word. It's just the fashionable word to use.
Yeah.
It's odd, because I am actually an evangelical Christian, so it's weird for them to have co-opted that. It's just, it's a strange word, but it's like when you go pitch a TV show, and you've got your Bible, and the real Bible has stories of God's chosen people, and your Bible has pictures of cows in a circus. So
Yeah.
it's just a co-oping term.
All right, so let's go back to your game.
Yes, let's.
Shall we?
When did this launch?
All right. Well, Steamers has kind of a convoluted history, but it first launched January 2010, so just over a year ago, and it was launched. It only took a month to make, and it was launched as a product market test to see if the people out there liked the gameplay. So and they did, and they really, really liked it. So it was just like a really basic prototype, and then it took off, and people thought that was the finished game, but it wasn't. It's just like a very small fraction of the game. So since then, I actually launched in November sequel, and it's still just testing, and it's still not the final game. So the final game that I want to make, I'm working on now, and maybe this fall will come out. I don't get
For the sequel, you didn't even call it Steamers.
no, yeah, Steamers Survival was the sequel, yeah, and then I'm working on Steamers Multiplayer for online multiplayer, which will be super fun. It's gonna be way more fun than Spelerium. And
Hey now, are you worried that there will be confusion about the sequel title? Are you worried that people will think that survival is? Are you worried about that nomenclature? People won't know what the most updated version of it is.
Personally, I'd like to say that putting numbers on the end of the sequels doesn't really work well, and I don't think it really resonates with the audience. It's hard to get behind Steamers 2. It's hard to get behind Steamers 3. Like, I don't know, Call of Duty 4, why not play Call of Duty 2? You know, I can't, it doesn't inspire anything new. It just seems like more of the same. So, that's my opinion, but what I found when I named it Steamers Survival, I'd say half of my fans here in the audience don't realize there's two games now. They think the original Steamers Survival. So that has been a serious problem. So now I think Steamers Multiplayer, is enough of a detachment from the single player game that people will clue in and say, wait, this is different. But
It's tricky.
yeah, I do regret not putting a 2 at the end of the last one.
Now, Erica, before the interview, you actually said that you prefer Spelerium to Steamers. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah.
I plead the fifth.
Neutral journalism. Nice.
So let's get back to your multiplayer.
Yes.
So right now it is a single player game. And multiplayer games are definitely the way that games are moving, I feel at least. So yeah, just tell me a little bit, like, how will they be interacting with each other?
Yeah, so I think that like multiplayer, I only have fun when I'm playing with other people. I don't typically have fun playing a single player game, but it's also a really big pain in the neck to get people together to play a multiplayer game. It's different when you have like a board game and people over to your house and you're committed for an hour, right? And you can all sit down and play a game. And that's one of the beautiful things about board games and local collaboration, local play. But online, it's really hard to get like 4 or 5 people together to play a single game and dedicate that time. So I'm building it around this game called Words with Friends, which a lot of people are familiar with. Right? So I'm building it around the same kind of model, where you can have several games running, and then you take your turn when you can.
That's a smart idea because we have a multiplayer game that wasn't released yet. We were still sort of testing the waters with it, but that's the scary thing. When you release it, if nobody comes, and you kind of have to have players in order to get players into this vicious circle. I had some experience building kids' virtual worlds, and that was the same thing. The day that you launch them, there's nobody in them. If you show up to a virtual world that tells all this interactivity and there's nobody there, you don't come back. So it's impossible to retain and get that momentum going. So
I'm going to be a bit of an evil jerk, and I'm going to populate the world with robots.
That's not evil. That's the only thing you can do.
Yeah, it's the only thing you can do, but if you tell your fans that's what you're doing, then they get disillusioned, because people want to play with other people. But if you're secretly playing with a robot, like Words of Friends does that, and you don't know, you can't tell when you're playing with a robot or with another human.
If you program it well enough.
Yeah, if you program it well enough, yeah. So that's why I'm doing a lot of AI.